Hi, I'm Lyria from the Stoplight Campaign, and we're at DriveSafe with Jake Dinwiddie.
Hello.
How often do you see/hear cases of drunk driving here at DriveSafe?
Well, not just with DriveSafe driving schools, but you hear about it on a daily basis. That's the frustrating part about it. The most recent statistic I heard is that in the United States, there was a fatality due to drunk driving every 50 minutes. So, I mean, you think about what that actually means, and it's horrendous. That's so many people's lives being affected by this. Now, I'm not saying I hear about it every 50 minutes or even every day, but you know that it's out there. I personally have witnessed people, that have been drinking out on the road. I've called police on them, to try to take care of it, to do my part. But yeah, it's a common problem that a lot of people feel it's always going to happen to someone else. They don't think they're bad enough. Yeah, they know it happens. It's not going to happen to them. Unfortunately, there's people that are wrong, and they're the ones that it happens to. Another kind of interesting statistic is 93% of people that were involved in fatal car crashes, it was their first time offense. So that just shows in our society, we always wait for something bad to happen to say that we learned a lesson, instead of just looking at all the data, all the statistics that are already out there, and just not doing it to start. So that shows you 93% had never had a prior with a DWI or a DUI in their past, which is, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. That's 93% of people that have never had an issue that are now the ones causing fatal car crashes.
So we know that drunk driving affects everyone, but who's affected the most by it, would you say?
I would say it's the people that right after they turn 21. Statistics show that from 21 to 24 has the highest number of people that are getting in trouble for DUIs and causing fatal car crashes. I think maybe that's due to the fact that it just became legal and they aren't willing to understand their limits, and just be smart about how they take on that new responsibility that alcohol for them is now technically legal. They've never had to really deal with it being legal and being able to drive a car. So I would say that's probably the age range that tends to be most affected by it. With that being said, from 16 all the way up, you hear of cases of people that have been drinking and driving.
What do you think can be done to stop it, if anything?
I think a lot can actually be done to stop it. And like I said, you look at numbers and steps have already been taken. So numbers have actually really gone down by quite a bit since around the 1980s. It's still, I mean, one time is one too many. But there's just continuing education. What we teach here at DriveSafe driving schools, making sure that, kids don't just go out without any knowledge behind it. And we're kind of living in a time where there's a lot of options that people didn't used to have, ride apps, Uber, Lyft. With all that being said, though, nothing beats just making a smart choice. You're right. If you know you're going to go to a party and you're going to drink, figure out a ride beforehand. Plan to stay the night. Talk to someone that maybe doesn't drink. They shouldn't have to babysit you, but there's steps that can be taken to keep these numbers going where we want them, which is decreasing. But use the things that you have at your disposal now to make sure you don't get behind the wheel and make a really awful choice.
So how has drinking and driving affected your life personally, like as a teacher or just as a friend, family member?
Yeah, it's actually affected me on many fronts. When I was a teenager, I knew people, that would be drinking. I was affected knowing people in my high school that we lost a couple of them due to a drunk driving crash. And that really impacts you. You hear about the stories, but when you see it happen to someone that your school, it makes it feel a little bit more real than just seeing kind of statistics or hearing people talk about it. Unfortunately, one of the people that was lost at my high school hadn't even been drinking. They just made the bad choice to get in a car with someone that had. They easily could have called mom or dad. I don't care what time it is. I guarantee you parents would rather pick you up, than you make the choice to get behind the wheel of a car. And then doing what I do on a daily basis now. I've dealt with thousands of teenagers throughout DriveSafe. Whether it's behind the wheel training or in classroom training, I really try to do what I can, to help them get the questions that they maybe have, that maybe they're embarrassed to ask someone else, to answer them, just to give them all the tools necessary to go out there and make smart choices, because that's one thing, not just myself, but everybody at DriveSafe. The reason I feel like we're the best driving school in the States, because we truly care about our students that walk through these doors. And unfortunately, drinking and driving is a really terrible choice that people make. We actually currently have stickers on our cars because one of our students was just recently lost. Again, hadn't been drinking, got hit by a drunk driver. And it affected all of us. So, it's a personal thing. The only thing I can do, and all of our other instructors can do, is try to get the information out there to help people make smart choices.
Questions that we have, but thank you so much for meeting with us and telling your story. It was really powerful and we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's fantastic.